Hello, everybody out there in Rumble, X, and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. Of course, I'm Diego. And today, let's finish talking about Wicked. I know you don't care about this movie, and nobody cares about this movie anymore. Nobody's talking about it anymore. It's done. It's deader than Elvis, okay? It came and it went. I'm surprised it took me this long to finish reviewing it, but, I've had a lot of distractions, a lot of things going on in my life. The holidays and all that. Yeah, it's been crazy, but we're in a new year now, okay? So a lot more remakes, sequels, prequels, spin-offs are on the way. Okay, so we got plenty more coming up, all right? Lots of fertile ground to review. Okay, here, but I want to finish this movie, okay? Because the only reason I even kept doing this, I kept reviewing Wicked for good, is because I reviewed the last one. I reviewed the one that came out last year. I reviewed that entire movie, and I said I was going to review the sequel, so I did. If it was up to me, it is up to me, but if I hadn't reviewed the last one, I wouldn't even bother with this one, okay? I wouldn't even bother with it, but I did. And if anybody ever wants to know what I thought about this movie, ever look it up, I reviewed the entire movie, okay? I didn't just cut it off before I was done reviewing the movie, okay? So that's why. All right, I give you a straight man's point of view here. That's what I do, okay? So I know this movie was not made for me. It was made for, older white women, rich white women, who have nothing better to do than to spend their husband's money while complaining that men are the root of all evil in the world, and theater kids, those theater kids, that are groomed, when they're in high school and stuff, and then they go off to their dramatic arts school, get their liberal arts degree, they're all into this stuff too, and of course gay people, and I guess theater kids kind of falls into that as well. Gay people as well. Okay, everyone in this movie is gay, in front of the camera and behind the camera. Okay, this is just a gay fest. That's all it is. Okay, but it's very popular. The Broadway show has been very successful for the past 23 years, 22 years, something like that. The Wicked show has been very successful in Broadway. They're still playing it all the time. So, you already had a fan base before the movie came out. Okay, so it's a successful show. Yes, this movie's woke. It's woke as hell. Everything in Hollywood's woke. This is no different. You got a black woman to play the Wicked Witch of the West, so that right there is a race swap. No, the fact that she's got green skin does not count. Okay, it's a race swap. The original Wicked Witch of the West was Margaret Hamilton, who was not black. She was ugly, but she was not black. Okay, and she owns the role. Okay, and there's no way you're going to convince me that this is the same character as that. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's just more of what Hollywood's been doing. Lots of people have talked about this. I think I even shared a video about this. Okay, where people are they're taking the villain, which is a villain, and they're trying to humanize them, make you empathize with the villain. Okay, thereby making the hero look more like the villain, and the villain look more like the hero. Okay, this was ground zero when the gay guy Gregory Maguire, when he published this book in '95. Yes, I listened to this entire thing back in the day. All right. He was the first one to get the idea. Let's make a bad guy. Let's instead of the bad guy being bad, let's just make the bad guy misunderstood. So you see, if you see everything from that person's point of view, you'll understand why they have to do what they did. It's not their fault. You see what I mean? And that's what they did here. I'm pretty sure Gregory Maguire drew a lot from his own experience. I don't think he saw himself as an ugly gay man. I think he saw himself as an ugly girl, not as a gay man. And so that's what he drew upon. Okay, there's a lot of himself in there. His mother died giving birth to him. Okay, and his father was a jerk to him. So no wonder Elphaba's mom died giving birth to her, and her father was a jerk to her. Well, in that case, it wasn't her real father, but he didn't know that, and she didn't know that. At least not in the movie. In the book, he very well knew that Elphaba was. Well, actually, no, Nyssa Rose. He knew that Nyssa Rose was not his biological daughter. He did not know that Elphaba was not his biological daughter either. So who cares? Who cares? He was gay anyway. He was having sex with a guy that was sleeping with his wife anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, they were both cheating on each other with the same guy. The wife and the husband were both cheating on each other with the same guy. That's the book. Okay, this movie's based on the Broadway show, which is they streamlined it a little bit more. They added some cool songs and stuff in the first part, not in this part. There's no cool songs in this part. Okay, and they try to humanize Elphaba, and they honestly they did a really good job with the character of Elphaba. This character is not the Wicked Witch of the West at all, nowhere near that character. Completely different character, a different personality, different everything. They even had to change the story from the original 1939 Wizard of Oz in order to fit this story. Okay, so they took out stuff that was in the original movie so that the stuff in this movie could make sense. You see what I mean? But when you compare the two, they don't make sense. They don't reconcile at all. So clearly, this movie gaslit us into thinking that this was an untold chapter of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This was a stuff that was happening at the same time behind the scenes that you didn't know about. A prequel and then a concurrent storyline. But when you actually watch now that I've seen this movie, there's no way that the events of this movie could have taken place at the same time as the events in the Wizard of Oz movie from 1939. They don't make sense. Different scenes, different everything. Okay? The characters don't even meet each other. In fact, in this movie, Elphaba does not meet Dorothy until she kidnaps her and already has her trapped in her dungeon, in her castle. That's the first time they meet each other. Okay, whereas in the original movie, they met back when she arrived in Munchkinland, like right after Glinda showed up to introduce Dorothy to the land of Oz. Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, showed up immediately after that. Okay, so like they had met earlier, and she had been hindering their progress towards the Wizard of Oz. She'd been throwing fireballs at them, trying to get them killed, all sorts of stuff, because she wanted those shoes. She wanted the shoes that Dorothy was wearing that belonged to her sister. Okay, so like they already knew each other. Okay, in this version, in this movie, Dorothy already agrees to kill the Wicked Witch of the West before she's ever met the woman. She doesn't know anything about the woman. All she knows is what people have told her. And she agrees to go kill her. You see what I mean? With her friends. And it turns out that her friends, the Scarecrow, actually was not dumb at all. He is a reincarnation of Elphaba's boyfriend. Okay? Yes. Okay, she turned him into a scarecrow so that he wouldn't get beaten to death, so that he would survive getting beaten to death. So he's not with Dorothy to get a brain. He just lied to her and told Dorothy that's what he wanted to do. The truth is, he wanted Dorothy to go to the wizard, knowing damn well that the only reason Dorothy was going to go see the wizard was so he could take her home, take her back to Kansas to get her out of the land of Oz. So the Scarecrow knew this entire time that the wizard had no powers. He was a fraud. Not only that, if he shows up, even if he shows up looking like a Scarecrow, he's still wearing the same uniform, okay, that his human identity of Fiyero wore. And Fiyero was the captain of the Gale Force Guard. He worked for the wizard. He worked for the Wizard of Oz for 5 years. Of course the Wizard of Oz is going to recognize him. Even he's wearing the damn captain's uniform. All you gotta do is look at his face. Oh my God, that's Fiyero. Fiyero has turned into a scarecrow. But yet that doesn't happen. That's not explained in this movie. How was it the wizard didn't recognize the Scarecrow as the former captain of his royal guard? You see what I mean? That makes no sense. Okay? And the whole thing about the Scarecrow wanting a brain was made up. He wasn't stupid at all. He just tricked Dorothy. He wanted Dorothy to go see the wizard. Why? I don't know. Okay? And I guess he expected the wizard to send Dorothy to go kill the Wicked Witch of the West, which is what Fiyero, the Scarecrow, wanted, because he was in cahoots with Elphaba to fake her death so that they could escape the land of Oz without anybody looking for them anymore. You see what I mean? And that's a lot to ask. Everything has to happen perfectly, and there's no way that could have all been planned out, especially when Elphaba had no idea that Fiyero was going to be turned into a Scarecrow. There's no way. And then the fact that he would just happen to bump into Dorothy along the way, that there's no way she could have known that was going to happen. There's no way this plan would have succeeded without a hitch. Okay? And if that isn't convincing enough, look at the Tin Man, Bach, the Tin Man. Okay? Supposedly he needed a heart. That's what we thought in the original movie. No, he didn't need a heart. He didn't want a heart. All he wanted to do was kill Elphaba. He wanted to hack her up with his axe, because he believes that Elphaba turned him into the Tin Man. He was an ugly man, but he was a normal man. He was a munchkin, who got to have sex with Ariana Grande, but they broke up already. Okay, he left his wife and his baby daughter for Ariana Grande, and now they broke up. Anyway, she was married too. She left her husband too. Anyway, so he gets turned into the Tin Man. Okay, when actually it was Nyssa Rose that did it to him. But of course, she passed the buck to her sister, so he believes that Elphaba turned him into the Tin Man, and now he wants to kill her. He's heartless now. He doesn't want a heart, okay? He doesn't care about anything. All he cares about is murdering Elphaba. So that means that all that stuff that he told Dorothy about needing a heart, and that song and dance, if I only had a heart, and him being the gentlest and nicest one, and the crybaby out of the group, the one that was the most emotional, okay, all that was a lie. He just faked it because he was hoping, he also knew that the wizard had no powers, okay, and he also went along with Dorothy going to go see the wizard, knowing that he could not send her home. I guess hoping that the wizard would order her to go kill Elphaba, because that's what he really wanted to do. You see, that's a lot to ask. Okay, there's no way this could all happen. Okay? And then you got the Cowardly Lion. Okay, what the hell? He's scared to death. He hates Elphaba, even though Elphaba and Fiyero are the ones that rescued him when he was a baby cub out of the cage. So he grew up in the wild, so he actually learned how to speak. If he'd grown up as a captive animal, he never would have developed the ability to speak. But for some reason, he hates Elphaba. He does not trust her. He blames her for kidnapping him, even though she's actually the one that rescued him. Okay? She was rescued mostly by Fiyero. Fiyero was the actual one that let him out of the cage. Okay? But he doesn't remember that, because if he had remembered that, he would realize that the scarecrow he's with is the same man that rescued him from the cage. And he doesn't remember that. Okay? He doesn't trust Elphaba. He actually tells all the animals, because the animals are being persecuted by the wizard. They're being hunted down and imprisoned and thrown into gas chambers and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Get the allegory? Okay. And obviously the lion is an animal. So, of course, he's afraid if he gets caught, he's going to get imprisoned and euthanized by the wizard. So he is very rightfully so should escape the land of Oz with the other animals, who are doing that. A lot of animals are fleeing. They dug a tunnel right on the yellow brick road, and they're fleeing. They don't know where the tunnel's going to go, but it's better than staying in Oz. So why the hell would a scared to death lion who hates Elphaba? Elphaba wants all the animals to stay in Oz. She even sang them that song, "There's No Place Like Home." She wants all the animals to stay in Oz and join her and revolt against the wizard, but they don't want to. They don't trust her, and they're scared. And the lion is one of them. So why the hell would the lion stay in the land of Oz if he knows that the wizard are hunting down all the animals and euthanizing them and caging them? He doesn't trust the leader of the resistance. So why would he stay in the land of Oz? Why? There's no reason to stay. He would have left with all the other animals. They're all just as scared as he is. But for some reason, he stayed. Even though the tunnel is right there. There's hundreds and thousands of animals going through that tunnel while he's talking to everybody. And yet he doesn't go through the tunnel himself. He stays in the land of Oz. He stays in a place where he knows it's dangerous to be an animal, rather than to take his chances somewhere else with all the other animals that are afraid of living on Oz. You see, it makes no sense. Okay, the Cowardly Lion would know that the wizard has no power, so he wouldn't expect the wizard to give him courage. That also makes no sense, that he would believe that. You see what I mean? It's just a load of crap. Okay, and the fact that these friends of Dorothy know the truth about the wizard, and they still let her believe that the wizard would bring her home with his magical powers is ridiculous. It's disgusting, and it betrays the original book by L. Frank Baum. It does. Okay, and that's one of the biggest problems I have with this. I thought this movie would give us something to explain all this. Maybe that the Scarecrow really does want brains, but he also wants to help Elphaba. Those two things they're not mutually exclusive. Same thing with the Tin Man. He does want a heart. He does want to reclaim his humanity, but he also wants to help Dorothy get home as well. You see? Then it would make sense. Okay, the Cowardly Lion. Yes, he wants to leave Oz. He wants to escape persecution, but at the same time, he's willing to forego his own safety, okay, in order to help this girl get home. You see? That's courage. He's displaying courage and he doesn't even realize it. That would work, but that's not what we got. Now we know that these characters, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, were lying to Dorothy the whole time. They're no better than the wizard. You see? For their own selfish reasons. Okay? And to me, that ruins the original Wizard of Oz. Okay? And that's one of the reasons this movie doesn't work. There's other reasons as well. I mean, the songs aren't very good. I don't remember any of the songs in this movie. I remember a lot of the songs from part one, but from this one, I don't remember hardly any. There's no memorable songs, you know? So anyway, yeah. So let's get into this movie. Let's finish this movie here. Okay. So where we left off last time, Glinda, we're back to the beginning of part one, which came out last year. Glinda's addressing all the citizens of Munchkin Land. Okay, she told them all that the wizard has taken an extended leave of absence, and he will never return. Madame Morrible is now in prison for whatever crimes Glinda accused her of. Glinda's running the show now. Okay, she has the magic book that Elphaba gave her, and she's telling everybody, I'm in charge now, but don't worry, okay, we're no longer going to persecute the animals. All the animals are welcome in Oz. They're going to have all their rights reestablished, you know, this and that. And one of the citizens asked her, were you friends with the Wicked Witch of the West? And at first, she doesn't want to answer that. She says, well, I knew her. We knew each other in college. But then she says, like, you know what? No. Yes, I did know her very well. This and that, okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so she decides she's going to try to be a good leader, a good witch of the North. Okay, despite all this, she does take a torch and burn an effigy, okay, of Elphaba. They made a giant stick figure, a giant wooden figure of Elphaba with her brim hat and everything. And it was actually Glinda that set it on fire, while all the citizens of Oz were laughing and jumping and celebrating the fact that the Wicked Witch of the West is dead, because they did not know that the real Wicked Witch of the West was this nice woman named Elphaba Throp, who was born with green skin and had magical powers because her biological father was the wizard from Earth, and her mother was a munchkin. Okay, named Melina, a black munchkin named Melina, okay? So, yeah. So, that's why she was so powerful, okay? Because she was the daughter of two worlds. Okay, that makes no sense at all, but whatever. Just go with it, all right? She had powers way before she even had the magic book, okay? So, all that's going on here, okay? They're all celebrating it, you know, blah, blah, blah. The animal rights are restored, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we're back at Fiero's castle, okay? And apparently Glinda left Elphaba's hat there. Now Glinda watched the silhouette. She watched the shadows of Dorothy and Elphaba fighting each other when she was at the castle. Now the castle where this took place, where Dorothy was imprisoned, okay, is Fiero's castle. Okay, it's one of the many castles. He was a prince. His family owned many castles in the land of Oz, and they hatched a plan to hide Elphaba inside one of his castles that wasn't being used. Okay, that's the castle, the Dark Castle. All right. That's where the monkeys were, the flying monkeys were. That's where Elphaba was. That was her little headquarters, and that's where she imprisoned Dorothy, okay? Well, Glinda showed up there as well, and they had a little private conversation, you know, because I knew you and all that kind of crap. All right, anyway, Glinda saw through a crack in the door. She saw the fight between Dorothy and Elphaba. She just saw the shadows. She didn't actually see the actual fight. She saw the shadow of Dorothy throwing a bucket of water onto Elphaba. She heard Elphaba screaming in pain. Ah! She saw Dorothy leave with the broomstick that she came for. And then Glinda went over there. She saw a big puddle of water, and she saw Elphaba's hat on the floor. Okay, the brim stalker hat, the one that Elphaba gave her back when they were in college. The one that her grandma made her, but she hated it so much she gave it to Elphaba as a joke to make fun of her. Okay, but Elphaba liked it, and she wore it for the rest of her life. Okay, not knowing that it was a joke. All right, so apparently Glinda left that hat there on the floor. Now, she grabbed the hat and she hugged it and she started crying because this was her best friend's hat. But she didn't think enough about it to take it with her. Instead, she took this green flask that she found, okay, which was empty, okay. It looked exactly like the same green flask that the Wizard of Oz drinks when he's drinking his own date rape drug for fun. Okay, she did take that, although that had absolutely no meaning to her. But the hat, the gift that she gave Elphaba when they first met each other, she left it there on the floor. Okay, and it's still there. The puddle of water is still there. The hat is still there. Okay, all of a sudden the Scarecrow arrives. Okay, the Scarecrow, yes, Scarecrow arrives. Apparently he ain't hooked up with Dorothy anymore. If Dorothy made it home, we never saw it. We don't know how Dorothy actually came home, Because we know in this movie, we know that those slippers Dorothy was wearing does not give you the ability to teleport back to Earth. The wizard left in the balloon without her. So Glinda has no magical powers at all. So how the hell did she get Dorothy back to Kansas? We never see it. It's never explained. It's this huge plot hole that's never explained. Okay. How does Dorothy get back home? We actually don't see Dorothy again. We never really see her in the movie. We hear her a couple of times. We see her from a distance or we see her from the back, but we don't actually see her. And it's never explained how Dorothy gets back home at all. It's never explained what happens to the Tin Man or the Cowardly Lion. They're just like written out of the script now. We have no idea what happened, what their fate is, what happens to them. Have they changed because they met Dorothy? We don't know. We have no idea. Okay, we have no idea at all. Okay, so Scarecrow arrives and he picks up the hat. Okay, obviously he's not hanging out with Dorothy anymore. He knocks on the floorboards, the floor panels, okay, of the floor, and they open up. So it was a crawl space down there, okay? It was like a cellar, okay? It was like these doors to sub, but it's disguised to look as the floor, okay? Okay, so the doors open up, the floor doors open up, and Elphaba emerges, and she's alive. So she was hiding down there for like a day or two, or however long it was, a couple of days, whatever. Now, I don't understand how in the hell does Dorothy throw water on Elphaba, and then Dorothy watches Elphaba melt into the ground. Oh, what a world, what a world. You know, all that stuff. And then she goes up there. She sees the dress. There's no dress. Never mind. There's no dress there like there was in the original. All she sees is the hat. I guess the water disintegrated the dress that Elphaba was wearing as well, the black dress. And it didn't disintegrate the broomstick, though, because she picked up the broom. And she left the hat there. And so did Glinda. Okay. How the hell did Elphaba like melt right through the floor and then rematerialize underneath it with her clothes on? And Dorothy, who's standing right there, didn't see any of it. It's not explained. It's not explained at all. Now, to be fair, this is not what happened in the book. In the book, Elphaba most certainly died. Okay, Dorothy did kill her. Did kill her completely. There was no faking death, no running off with Fiyero into the sunset. As a matter of fact, Fiyero is actually in the book. Fiyero was already married and had kids. Okay? And he did impregnate, he did cheat on his wife with Elphaba. And she did have a son named Lear. And then they made another book in the series about him. Okay? But, yeah, none of this stuff that's in this happened. Okay? In the book, in the Wicked novel, Dorothy succeeded in killing Elphaba. Okay? And the Scarecrow wasn't there. Okay? the Tin Man wasn't there. The Cowardly Lion was there. Okay? But that was it. Okay? It wasn't like in the movie. You know, remember in the movie where like the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, they disguised themselves as Cossacks, as guards, you know, working for the witch, and to sneak into the castle? Okay, well, none of that happened in the book, and none of that happened in the movie. All right? They were completely left out of it. Okay, so yes, so apparently this happened and Dorothy didn't see anything. Okay, so Elphaba's still alive. She was hiding for however long it was. And Fiyero, we find out that Fiyero is the Scarecrow because now we see the Scarecrow's face. Okay, and it is Fiyero, okay, who's gay in real life. Robert, what's his name? The actor that plays him, Jonathan Bailey, he's gay as fuck in real life, and he's playing a straight person, and he's not convincing at all. Anyway, he's there, but it is convincing that he would be in love, this good-looking guy would be in love with an ugly woman, because that's typically how lavender marriages are made. You know, that's when a straight woman marries a gay guy, typically the straight woman is ugly as hell, and the gay guy is super good-looking, right? So, no exception here. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, it opens up, Elphaba's alive, but she is shocked. She's actually shocked that Fiyero, the love of her life, the super good-looking, handsome guy, now looks as ugly as her. Okay, he's now a human Scarecrow. Okay, now how the fuck did Dorothy get back home? like I said, okay, Glinda did not help her, and if she did, we did not see it. And if she did help her, how could she have helped her when Glinda has no magical powers? Okay, even that bubble thing that she flies around is fake. It's a machine that does that. So here's Glinda walking around with a wand, talking about how she can be a good witch and how she punishes people that lie and manipulate, despite the fact that she's faking that she has powers to everybody in the Land of Oz. Get the fuck out of here, okay? This makes no sense. Okay? You know, and also Glinda did not know that those slippers were magical. Okay? The slippers that Dorothy's wearing, they're silver in this because Warner Brothers owns the rights to the ruby slippers that they used in the original movie. So you couldn't do that in this movie. So the slippers had to be the original color that they were in the book, which was they were silver. Okay? So there was no way in hell that Glinda knew that those slippers could teleport anybody, much less that they were magical. Now we know the slippers were magical because we saw Elphaba do a spell, and when Elphaba's sister Nyssa Rose was wearing them, she flew up in the air. Okay, so we know that the slippers can make you fly, but they have no ability to teleport you to another dimension. Okay, they don't have that ability. No matter how many times you click them together, it's not gonna happen. Okay? And Glinda didn't even know that. She didn't even know that those slippers were magical. So why in the hell would she have been able to tell Dorothy, just click your heels 3 times and think about home and you'll be there? No, there's no way that could happen, and we don't see it happen in this movie. We don't know what happens to Dorothy. Not at all. It's bad writing, okay? So let's go. The Scarecrow tells Elphaba, I'm as good as new, okay? And then she touches him. She puts her hand on his cheek the way she did back when he was human, like in the last movie, when they're out in the woods, okay? She touches his cheek, and he tells her, you saved my life. Well, if you call being turned into a scarecrow saving your life, I guess, but I mean, you went from spending your whole life being super good looking, you know, and a party guy and a bad boy and all the women and men who are in love with you and get horny for you, and now you're ugly as fuck, okay? So that you can like be as ugly as her now, like that, and you're happy about that? I don't know. Elphaba says, like, you're beautiful. And the Scarecrow says, you don't have to lie. Okay, now this is going back to what happened before. Okay, earlier in this movie, after they had, yes, he had sex with her when he was human. He had sex with her in this movie, I know, man. There's not enough Viagra in the world. But anyway, I told you he was gay, so he just like looked at this ugly woman as just a dude. That's how he got it up. All right, anyway, they had sex, okay? And afterwards, he told her that she was beautiful. And she said, you don't have to lie. He's like, I'm not lying. I'm just looking at you in a different way. Well, guess what? Now he's the ugly motherfucker. And she tells him he's beautiful because that's what you do to gay guys. You tell them they're beautiful, right? And he says, don't lie. And she says, I'm not lying. I'm just looking at you in a different way. And then now they're both ugly. Now they're all going to crack the mirrors when they walk in a room, okay? Yes, okay. So anyway, they decide they have to go. So they quickly pick up themselves up and get the hell out of that castle, okay? They close the secret hatch. And then after looking at her, she notices her hat on the floor, her brim, she looks at it for a long time. And then she fucking leaves it there. Her favorite hat. This hat was so important to her that when she was flying around the Land of Oz for the past 5 years on her broomstick, flying like at 300 miles an hour, the hat never even fell off of her head. That's how important that hat was to her. Okay? And now she's going to leave it there. just like Glinda left it there. Just like Dorothy left it there. Okay, yes. All right. So she just leaves. Okay, next scene, Glinda, she keeps the green flask. Okay, the flask that tipped her off into her finding out that the Wizard of Oz was actually Elphaba's father. Okay, the date rape flask, the one that had Rohypnol in there. How the hell did they have Rohypnol in 1900 when the Wizard of Oz takes place? Anyway. Whatever, it makes no sense. Anyway, she keeps the green flask and she starts trying to read the Grimoire, okay? Because she wants to have magical powers. The book is magic. She doesn't know how to read it. Elphaba was born just able to read it for some reason, but no one else can. All right. Okay, Elphaba narrates that Glinda will never know that she is still alive. Okay, so obviously Glinda, Elphaba did not tell Glinda that she was going to fake her death. She wanted Glinda to think that she died for real. So when she was saying everything will be okay, but this is goodbye, okay, Glinda thought that meant that they would never see each other again because she was about to die. No, she was saying goodbye because I ain't gonna see you again. I'm still alive. I'm gonna run off with your fucking fiance and fuck him for the rest of my life, but I can't tell you that, even though you're my best friend. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so she narrates that Glinda will never know that that Elphaba is still alive. Glinda creeps around the Emerald Tower, okay, with the Grimoire book, just walking around there all by herself. Elphaba and the Scarecrow, they leave the Land of Oz. We see them walking, I guess outside of the Land of Oz, it's just a desert. You know, like Dune, like Tatooine, like whatever, you know, your typical desert, you know, fucking Stranger Things, all that kind of shit, right? Okay, and they walk across the windy desert off into the sunset. Literally, they are walking off into the sunset. Okay, Elphaba turns around really quickly to look back at the Land of Oz. Okay, Glinda is at the top of the Emerald Tower, and she's staring out into nothing. Okay, and they both start singing Because I Knew You. That's the song they sing to each other to express how much they love each other, how much best friends they are, despite the fact that Glinda was on the team that was persecuting her and trying to kill her. Okay? Yes, okay, they still sang that song to each other. You know, I have been changed because I knew you. Get the hell out of here. This makes no sense. Glinda's just as much a piece of shit as every other leader in Oz. As Madame Morrible, as the wizard. She's a bullshit artist too, like everyone else that's in charge of the Land of Oz. Okay, so what the fuck? Okay, the Grimoire book, while she's doing that, singing out loud, the Grimoire book opens up for Glinda. So now Glinda magically has the ability to read the book now, all right? Okay, Elphaba and Fiero hold hands and they walk off into the sunset. I'm not making that up. They literally walk off into the sunset holding hands. A scarecrow and an ugly green bitch. They walk off into the sunset holding hands. All right. The famous scene with Glinda in the white veil whispering into Elphaba's. We see they have a flashback memory, and where they're all picnicking when when they were in college. It's Bach and Nissa Rose and Elphaba and Glinda and Fiero. I guess they're all in a picnic in college, having fun. And there's a scene right there where Elphaba is just leaning forward, and to the side, I guess from this side, you see Glinda coming in like this, covering, you know, to whisper something in her ear. And we see that. And then Elphaba just like looks up like, smirking. Apparently whatever Glinda whispered in her ear was titillating or something like that. And that, of course, is a remake of the famous poster from the Broadway show. Okay, it shows Elphaba and Glinda, with Glinda whispering something into Elphaba's ear while Elphaba is smiling. Okay, this is the remake of that shot. Okay, now some YouTuber or someone did their own remake of this shot last year, right when the Wicked Part 1 movie came out. And I remember that very well because Cynthia Erivo, the actress that plays Elphaba, she hated it. Okay, it was a picture of her as Elphaba, but the brim was covering her eyes, just like the famous picture it did. Well, Cynthia Erivo called that racist and misogynist and all this kind of shit. Okay, raised a big fucking shitstorm about this. She hated the fact that he redid it took away her identity. That's what she said. Okay, it was humiliating, it was disrespectful, and all this sorts of shit. So she got a lot of PR out of this. Okay. Luckily, the movie was good. Okay, but this movie, not so much. All right. So, so this was a remake of that scene. Okay. Boom. And that's how the movie ends. That is how the movie ends. That is the end of Wicked for Good and Good Riddance. Movie was not very well. Okay. But I will tell you here real quickly. I just pulled it up here. How did this movie do? Okay. This Wicked for Good sits at right now $518 million. $518 million. That's how much money Wicked for Good made. It sounds like a lot of money, okay? But let's see how much Wicked from last year made, okay? That movie last year, part 1 to this, made $759 million, okay? big. We're talking about $250 million difference here. Okay? Last year, Wicked Part 1 made $759 million, okay? So this movie did $250 million less than Part 1. Okay, that should tell you something. There's not going to be a Part 3. There's not going to be a Part 3, okay? This is pretty much done, okay? It started off really good. Wicked Part 1 was pretty good. I enjoyed it. This one I didn't enjoy as much, which sucked because I wanted to enjoy this movie better than the first one, because in this movie we were going to see Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. We were going to see all that. We were going to see all the stuff that was happening during those scenes that we never saw before, and we really didn't get much of that, okay? And it didn't make sense. The parts that we did get did not make sense, okay? Like, you can't reconcile this stuff. It actually if anything, it ruins the original Wizard of Oz movie, and that's why I don't like this movie very much. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen a lot worse than this, okay? But this one doesn't do very much for the original Wizard of Oz movie, whereas the last one did. Wicked Part 1 from last year did. It was a pretty good backstory for the Wicked Witch of the West. I liked it. I liked that aspect of it. Glinda and Elphaba were best friends before they became arch enemies. All that was good. But this one, Act 2 of that is not very good. Not very good at all. There's no way they could reconcile it with the original Wizard of Oz. And if you're not going to make this make sense with the original beloved movie, then why fucking do it? Why do it at all? Okay? There's no way to look at this thing except as some alternate reality version of the Wizard of Oz, instead of like a story that was taking place within the story that we already know. And that's what I wanted. That's not what I got. Okay? So that's my thoughts on Wicked for Good. Not as good as the last one. There was some good stuff in there. Cynthia Erivo is a very talented singer. Okay, and she does play a very good character. I'll give her that. Okay, she does. Okay, I know she's butt ugly as hell. I know that. Okay, but she was a good actor. She's playing a butt ugly woman, so it makes sense. Okay, Ariana Grande was okay. I mean, she looks like a concentration camp survivor because it looks like she's like overdosing on Ozempic. And she's a homewrecker. She stole a married man away from his wife and his baby daughter. Okay, but she did okay in this movie. I don't understand how she was supposed to be the pretty one, because I'm sorry, there's nothing sexy about her. Okay, maybe she was sexier when she was younger or something. Okay, but I'm too old to really follow her career or anything. I've never been one of her fans. Okay, I'm just looking at her here. She's way too skinny. No tits, no ass, no legs. Okay, her face looks like she's starving. I'm sorry, and she's supposed to be the pretty one? No, I don't think so. No. She ain't gonna get my dick up. All right, and what else? Actually, nobody in this movie will, to be honest with you. Okay, that just tells you this was for a gay audience. There's nothing in it for us. There's nothing in this movie for straight guys. Okay, there's not, and there never will be. Okay, because they don't understand what straight guys are. All right, so that's why they had to get a gay guy to play a straight guy. All right, so so that's about it for here. I thank you very much for watching these videos. Okay, I am a little let down that this movie wasn't very good. Not as good as the last one, but oh well. That's what I do here. I'm going to take a little bit of break now, okay? And then I'm going to come back and start reviewing something, okay? A lot of people are telling me to review All's Fair. I've already seen the first episode. I might just do that. I might just come back and start reviewing All's Fair, okay? Because I know that movie represents everything I hate about women TV shows and women movies. That represents everything. Talk about getting me triggered. That All's Fair, that Kim Kardashian lawyer show, just, oh my God, that just struck a nerve with me. Okay, so I might end up doing that. We'll see. But anyway, I thank you very much for watching my videos. Okay, I'll be back soon with something new to review. I want you all to take care of yourself, and a happy new year. It's 2026. Okay, let's make this a better year than last year. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Bye.